Money is one of the most misunderstood aspects of our lives. We like to think financial success depends on intelligence or complex strategies, but as Morgan Housel explains in The Psychology of Money, it's mostly about behavior. This book isn't filled with technical jargon or detailed investment strategies. It's about the psychology behind the decisions we make with money. Each chapter presents a core concept that helps us rethink how we view wealth, success, and happiness. Today, we'll break it down step by step so you can walk away with actionable insights for your financial journey. Please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much. Let's start by exploring a simple but profound idea. No one's crazy when it comes to money. Chapter 1. No one's crazy. We all have a unique relationship with money, shaped by our personal experiences. As Housel points out, your personal experiences with money might represent only a tiny fraction of what's happened in the world, yet they account for most of how you think the world works. For instance, someone who grew up during the Great Depression might save obsessively, fearing scarcity, even when they're financially secure. Meanwhile, someone raised during a booming economy might feel comfortable taking bigger risks, believing markets will always recover. Both of these perspectives make sense given their histories. This chapter reminds us not to judge others' financial choices. What seems irrational to you might be entirely logical to someone else, based on their lived experiences. To improve your financial decisions, broaden your perspective. Learn from other people's stories and reflect on how your own experiences shape your biases. By doing this, you can approach money with a clearer, more balanced mindset. Chapter 2. Luck and risk. Luck and risk are inseparable in the world of money. Success often depends on both your actions and factors beyond your control. Housel gives the example of Bill Gates, who was talented and hardworking, but also lucky enough to attend one of the few high schools with a computer lab in the 1970s. On the flip side, there are countless equally talented people who didn't have the same opportunity and never achieved the same success. Luck and risk are two sides of the same coin. This chapter teaches us humility. As Housel writes, focus less on specific individuals and case studies and more on broad patterns. Instead of mimicking someone else's exact path to success, recognize that circumstances matter. Build a margin of safety into your plans to account for risks and be prepared for things to go differently than expected. Luck may play a role in your wins, but preparation helps you survive the losses. Chapter 3. Never enough. Chasing more is a recipe for dissatisfaction. As Housel puts it, the hardest financial skill is getting the goalpost to stop moving. Without defining what is enough, it's easy to fall into the trap of endless ambition. This chapter urges us to identify what we truly value and avoid risking everything for something we don't actually need. Think of someone who builds a successful business and then bets it all on one more deal, only to lose everything. Was it worth it? There are things in life like health, relationships, and peace of mind that you should never gamble with. Practicing gratitude can help you appreciate what you already have and recognize when you've reached enough. Contentment isn't about giving up, it's about knowing when to stop chasing. Chapter 4. Confounding compounding. Compounding is one of the most powerful forces in finance, but it's also one of the least understood. Housel emphasizes that building wealth isn't about earning the highest returns. It's about earning reasonable returns consistently over a long period. He uses the example of Ronald Read, a janitor who amassed millions not through luck or high-stakes investments, but by saving consistently and letting his investments grow over decades. The beauty of compounding lies in time. Small amounts invested consistently can snowball into significant wealth if given enough time to grow. The lesson here is simple. Start early even if you're only contributing a little. Patience and consistency matter far more than chasing the next big win. Compounding works best when you give it the time it needs to flourish. Chapter 5. Getting wealthy versus staying wealthy. Building wealth and keeping wealth require different skills. Earning wealth often involves boldness and taking risks, while maintaining it requires humility and a focus on avoiding unnecessary losses. Housel explains that good investing is not necessarily about making good decisions. It's about consistently not screwing up. Think of someone who earns a fortune through risky investments but loses it all because they don't know when to stop. To stay wealthy, You need to build a margin of safety into your financial plans and avoid taking on risks that could lead to ruin. The goal isn't just to grow your money, but to protect what you've built. Balance boldness with caution, and remember that survival is more important than short-term gains. Chapter 6. Tails, you win. In finance, big outcomes often come from a small number of significant events, or tails. Housel explains that in the stock market, most returns come from a handful of standout companies. For example, imagine investing in 10 companies. Even if 9 fail, the success of one like Amazon could outweigh all the losses. This chapter highlights the importance of diversification. By spreading your investments across many opportunities, you increase your chances of capturing one of those rare, game-changing successes. At the same time, you protect yourself from complete failure. Not every decision will work out, and that's okay. One major win can make up for multiple setbacks. Chapter 7. Freedom. The ultimate purpose of money isn't to buy things, it's to buy freedom. As Housel writes, controlling your time is the highest dividend money pays. True wealth is the ability to wake up each day and decide how to spend your time. It's about having the flexibility to make choices that align with your values and priorities. When we think about wealth this way, it shifts the focus from material possessions to autonomy. The real reward of financial success is the ability to live life on your terms. So when you're making financial decisions, ask yourself, does this bring me closer to freedom? Use your money to create opportunities and reduce stress, not to chase status or impress others. Chapter 8. The Man in the Car Paradox. Why do we chase wealth? Often, it's not because we want the money itself, but because we think it will earn us admiration from others. The irony, as Morgan Housel explains, is that people don't care about your possessions as much as you think. He writes, "No one is impressed with your possessions as much as you are. We imagine others admire us for our cars, clothes, or homes, but what people truly respect are qualities like kindness, integrity, and reliability, not material goods. For example, seeing someone driving an expensive car might make you admire the car, not the person inside it. The admiration we seek through spending rarely comes. The lesson here is to shift your focus. Instead of using money to impress others, use it to align your life with your values. Invest in experiences, relationships, and personal growth. True wealth lies not in what others think of you, but in how you feel about the life you're living. Chapter 9. Wealth is what you don't see. We often equate wealth with visible displays like fancy houses, cars, or luxury vacations. But as Housel explains, true wealth is what you don't see. It's the money you've saved and invested, not the money you've spent. Wealth is hidden. It's the income not spent, he says. Think of someone living in a modest home with a robust savings account compared to someone with a flashy lifestyle but no financial security. The first person is truly wealthy, while the second may be living paycheck to paycheck. This chapter reminds us that wealth isn't about appearances. By saving and investing instead of splurging to impress others, you're building real financial security. Focus on what matters: freedom, stability, and the ability to handle life's surprises. Please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much. Chapter 10. Save money. Saving money is one of the simplest yet most powerful financial habits. Housel argues that savings don't just offer a safety net, they also provide flexibility and freedom. He writes, "Savings without a spending goal gives you flexibility and control. You don't need to earn a fortune to save. What matters is living below your means. Savings allow you to seize opportunities, weather unexpected challenges, and reduce stress about the future. For instance, having an emergency fund can turn a financial crisis into a manageable inconvenience." The takeaway is clear: prioritize saving even in small amounts. It's not about depriving yourself, it's about creating options and peace of mind. Saving is less about income and more about habits. Chapter 11. Reasonable, rational. When it comes to financial decisions, we often aim for perfection, but Housel argues that the goal isn't to be perfectly rational, it's to be reasonable. Do what works for you, not what's supposed to work, he writes. A strategy that's logically sound but emotionally draining won't last. For example, if you're uncomfortable with a high-risk investment, you're less likely to stick with it during market downturns. Instead, choose an approach that feels sustainable and aligns with your personal values. The lesson here is to focus on consistency over optimization. Make decisions that you can live with, even if they're not technically perfect. A reasonable plan you'll follow is better than a rational plan you'll abandon. Chapter 12. Surprise. Life is unpredictable and so is money. As Housel puts it, the most important part of every plan is planning on your plan not going according to plan. No matter how carefully you prepare, surprises will happen. Consider history. Many major events, financial crashes, pandemics, technological breakthroughs, were unexpected. This chapter reminds us that flexibility is more important than precision. Instead of trying to predict every detail, focus on building resilience. Save for the unexpected, leave room for error, and adapt as circumstances change. Financial success isn't about predicting the future, it's about being prepared for it. Chapter 13. Room for error. One of the simplest ways to reduce financial stress is to build a margin of safety into your plans. Housel explains, you can't prepare for every scenario, but you can prepare for a future filled with unknowns. Imagine building a house. You wouldn't construct it right up to the edge of a cliff. You'd leave space to account for erosion or shifting ground. The same principle applies to money. Whether it's saving extra for retirement or diversifying your investments, having a buffer helps you weather the unexpected. The key takeaway here is to save more than you think you'll need. A margin of error isn't wasted. It's what keeps you secure when life doesn't go as planned. Chapter 14. You'll change. Financial goals aren't static. They evolve as you grow and change. Housel points out that long-term plans are harder than they seem because people's desires and priorities shift over time. The trick is to accept the reality of change and plan accordingly, he writes. Think about it. What mattered to you at 20 might feel irrelevant at 40. This chapter encourages us to build flexibility into our plans, allowing room for growth and adaptation. Revisit your financial goals regularly to make sure they still align with your values. The ability to adjust isn't a weakness. It's what keeps your financial strategy relevant. Life changes, and your financial approach should change with it. Chapter 15. Nothing's free. Every financial success comes with trade-offs. Housel reminds us, everything has a price, but not all prices appear on labels. For example, investing in the stock market comes with the price of uncertainty, doubt, and occasional losses. Understanding these trade-offs helps you make better decisions. Instead of avoiding discomfort, embrace it as part of the process. Recognize that no path to success is free, but the rewards often outweigh the costs. The goal is to choose trade-offs that align with your values. By accepting the price of progress, you can move forward with clarity and confidence. Chapter 16. You and me. Financial decisions are deeply personal. What works for one person might not work for another because everyone's circumstances and values are different. Housel writes, we all do crazy things with money because we all see the world through different lenses. Avoid the trap of comparing yourself to others. Just because someone spends more or saves more doesn't mean their strategy is right for you. Focus on your own goals and customize your approach to fit your life. Respect others' choices while staying true to your own. Financial success isn't about following someone else's path. It's about forging your own. Chapter 17. The seduction of pessimism. Pessimism is often more compelling than optimism, but it can be misleading. Housel observes, pessimism sounds smart. Optimism sounds oblivious. While caution is valuable, constant negativity can prevent you from seeing opportunities. The world moves forward because people believe tomorrow can be better than today. Balancing realism with optimism allows you to prepare for risks while still pursuing growth. Believe in progress, even when it feels uncertain. Optimism isn't about ignoring challenges. It's about trusting that you can overcome them. This mindset is essential for long-term success. Chapter 18. When you'll believe anything. We all have an innate tendency to believe stories that align with our biases, even when they aren't supported by evidence. Morgan Housel explains, everyone has an incomplete view of the world, but we form a complete narrative to fill in the gaps. This tendency is especially dangerous in finance, where our decisions are often influenced by narratives rather than facts. Think about financial bubbles or market crashes. They're often fueled by stories people believe, like, "This stock will always go up," or "Real estate prices can't fall." These stories feel compelling but are rarely grounded in long-term reality. This chapter challenges us to question overly simplistic or appealing narratives and seek out diverse perspectives. To avoid falling into the trap of believing what you want to hear, focus on data and evidence. Look for patterns over time and resist decisions based solely on emotionally charged stories. Objectivity is your greatest ally in making sound financial choices. Chapter 19. All Together Now. The lessons in the psychology of money are interconnected, and this chapter brings them together into a cohesive philosophy. At its core, financial success is about behavior, saving, investing, and managing your emotions. Housel writes, "A financial plan is about what works for you, not for others." This chapter emphasizes the importance of aligning your financial strategy with your personal values. Success isn't about following a perfect formula, it's about creating habits and behaviors that support your goals over the long term. For example, compounding, saving, and managing risk all work together to build lasting wealth. The key takeaway is to think holistically about your financial journey. Combine these principles into a strategy that fits your life, and don't be afraid to adapt as your circumstances change. Financial well-being is the result of consistency, patience, and a willingness to learn from experience. Chapter 20. Confessions. Morgan Housel closes the book with personal reflections, sharing his own financial journey and the lessons he's learned along the way. He writes, "I've made plenty of mistakes, but I've learned to focus on what works for me." This chapter reminds us that imperfection is part of the process, even for those who understand money deeply. Housel admits he doesn't know what the market will do next, and neither does anyone else. This humility underscores the book's central message. Financial success isn't about predicting the future, but about controlling your behavior and preparing for uncertainty. His openness about his mistakes makes the book's lessons feel even more relatable. The final chapter encourages you to focus on progress, not perfection. Reflect on your own financial habits and adapt them as you learn. The goal isn't to get everything right, but to create a strategy that aligns with your values and helps you achieve the life you want. Closing summary: the psychology of money. Before we wrap up, please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much. If there's one thing to take away from this book, it's that financial success isn't about how smart you are, it's about how you behave. Patience, humility, and adaptability are the key ingredients of a healthy relationship with money. This is a central idea of the book. Money should be a tool for freedom and security, not a means to impress others or chase an ever-moving goalpost of status. Housel emphasizes that the unpredictable nature of life and financial markets requires flexibility. We can't always control what happens, but we can prepare for uncertainty by thinking long-term, building a margin of safety, and staying adaptable. This approach allows us to weather challenges and seize opportunities without jeopardizing our stability. The book highlights that true wealth isn't about flashy displays of success. It's about having freedom, control, and flexibility. It's about being able to make decisions based on your values, not out of fear or external pressure. Wealth is what gives you the time to focus on what matters most, whether it's your family, passions, or personal goals. So how do you apply these lessons? Start by focusing on behaviors like saving consistently and avoiding unnecessary risks. Use your money to gain freedom and control over your time instead of trying to impress others. Build a financial plan that accommodates uncertainty, prioritizes long-term growth, and reflects your unique values. And don't forget to revisit your goals regularly. Life changes, and your financial strategy should change with it. Above all, remember this: wealth is not about the numbers in your bank account or the car in your driveway. It's about the life it allows you to live. As Morgan Housel reminds us, the ability to do what you want when you want, with who you want, for as long as you want, pays the highest dividend of all. Let these lessons guide your financial journey, and you'll not only build wealth, but also a life of meaning and purpose.